ordered shoes 3 days ago, and I finally got them in the mail. I never really see these when I go to the store, but there's these campus shoes, and they're so cute. Oh, look at that. I love these shoes. They're so cute. I got them in pink and white. They're pretty bright, but I like them. They have like heart little stamps here. I find it so adorable. Yeah. But yeah, it's like
I don't want this one. I don't know, how do you say it? Dorian?
pineapple.
Dorian? Robbie, orange, grape, or the ones I already have? Hold on. Balls.
No. When'd you get it? Hi guys, I'm finally home from the store, and here's a little haul of what I got. This is mainly stationery and some things that I need for my like back to school stuff. First of all, I got this set of like post-its and little stickies. They're so cute. They have like cute doodles, and I think they like match with like anything. I got these. It says Kofusen. It's 4 cases of 4 different sticky tabs because I am taking AP Lit, so I really just want to highlight really important points for the classes. We are reading a lot of stories. I got these 2 pink erasers. They're just really helpful for me to have because I'm using pencil, but I always lose my erasers. And then I have this compact scissors. I find myself always needing scissors because of like a project or something I might need for like school or my notes. So this would be really handy. It comes in a cute cover, so I'm not, it's not hurting anyone. I got this cute ruler. I love it. It's like pink and blue and all these fun sorts of colors. So yeah, so cute. And it like extends out, so it can fit in your pencil case, and then you can use it for things that are like a whole foot and measured. Like these hair ties, we ran out of them, so I will need them for like hairstyles. And then I got hairpins. Same reason, I feel like I need them. And then this is one thing I was pretty excited for. It's been on my Pinterest board for so long now. I got this. I'm so excited, but it's basically a really good journal. I've seen it all over my Pinterest, and then when I was at the store called Mado, they have a bunch of this. I was like, I needed the pink one, obviously. So yeah, I really want to get into journaling, especially because it's my senior year, and I know I'll be like really overwhelmed. And I've been wanting a fresh new journal just to put everything else away and get something new. Hi guys, so today my friends are coming over to swim at my pool, and we're just gonna hang out and have fun. It's the last week before I go back to school, and I just really want to spend time with them and just relax before the school year starts and everything gets hectic. I have my bathing suit on right now, and then a long white skirt because I know wearing jeans is kind of like makes me feel sticky. questions regarding my junior year or classes, since I'm going to be an upcoming senior, I feel like I had a lot of questions and some of them sometimes weren't really answered. So here I am answering to your questions about classes or just anything about me as well. So one of my first questions is, how can you encourage someone to embrace their style at school? As a teenager, everyone kind of has that feeling of being judged or made fun of. I myself often feel that all the time. But I think it takes a lot of guts to embrace your style and who you are, because sometimes we all just want to blend in and not be the black sheep, you know? But sometimes it's okay to realize that it's okay to be different. We don't all have to be the same. So one tip I would really say in embracing your style at school is starting off small. For me, I had kind of like a basic style, but slowly I started changing certain aspects of me, like adding clips into my hair or adding a pop of color onto like a basic outfit. You don't really have to go all out with your like style, but you can start off small and eventually build off of that. Another tip, which is really easy for me to say, is confidence. I feel like confidence is definitely a key component to like embracing your style. And at the end of the day, like, no one's really gonna remember your outfit that you wore on a Tuesday at school. So just try and make the most of it. We have such a little time as teenagers. It flies by really fast. So I feel like it's okay to have those doubts of people judging you, but at the same time, you should still embrace it and be yourself. Another tip I have is to make like Pinterest boards or any like mood boards of not only what you want to wear, but how you want to feel like. I feel like having a little mini vision board like this one here really helps into giving yourself an idea of what kind of style you want to have, what pieces you might want to look for, and how you also want to feel or embrace. Might be really hard sometimes, but just know anyone's style is so cool, no matter how different it might be than to what you see like at your own school or community. I think it's really important to just be different, because at the end of the day, we can't all be copy and paste of the same girl over and over. And if you want to be basic, that's totally okay, but it's also good to embrace a different side if you want to as well. Someone asked, was it hard? And I'm pretty sure they're referring to junior year being hard, and I will say yes, it is, but I do think with the right support around you and the right people around you, it definitely will make your junior year a lot more easier. I have found myself to have a really good support system of teachers, staff at my school, and my counselor as well. They've done everything to make sure my school year was like a lot more manageable. I really did learn to keep track of a lot of things and manage my own stress and time. So yes, the classes for me were hard. I took AP Environmental Science, AP Calculus AB, AP Psych, AP Lang, and then I took a Communications and Public Speaking class along with Sociology. It kind of like intertwined both semesters because I'm in dual enrollment. And then a push. It was a lot more work than the other years, but I do, like I said, I do think it's really important to have a good support system around you, because it will definitely make it more manageable. Like, yes, you will be stressed, but you have like people to turn to for that, if that makes sense. Someone asked, what tips and advice do I have? Pretty sure regarding junior year in school is that it's okay to ask for help. I'm somebody who was really stubborn, and sometimes I still am, but it was really difficult for me to ask for help most of the time because I thought I needed to be independent. So I will say, always ask for help. There's people who will be there for you and they will give you the help you need. Another tip I have is to not procrastinate. I feel like everyone says this all the time, but it really does kick you in the butt. I remember having an assignment one time and I procrastinated on it and I ended up rushing on it. I still got a good grade, but it wasn't really fun working on it because I was like stressed. I had a bunch of other things, and after that I kind of learned my lesson that I should not procrastinate. And I found myself doing my task on time gave me a lot more free time to just rot in bed. Another piece of advice that I have is just hang out with your friends. Just take the initiative and do fun things even though you're still balancing school and your social life. I really took the opportunity to hang out with my friends a lot more this year for my junior year because I knew we were all stressed, we were all going through it, but we still had a bunch of time to spend together. And at the end of the day, high school is like your last few years before you become an adult and you have these crazy responsibilities and you have college. So I feel like it's really important to acknowledge the fact that you're still a teenager, I'm still a teenager, and I just need to live life to the fullest. One more piece of advice is I will stress this all the time. My sister's coming into her freshman year and I've told all her friends and herself included to get involved. I feel like this can apply to anyone who's not a junior. It can be a freshman, even middle school, and maybe in college too. But make sure to get involved. I feel like your school life can be a little boring if you don't get involved or put yourself out there. I didn't really know anything about clubs because I am like the eldest in my family, so I was the one to learn about all these clubs. And I have found myself to volunteer a lot more, network with a lot of people, and really just give back to the community. You don't necessarily have to do volunteering. I find that volunteering like makes me really happy and I genuinely enjoy doing that. I also did tennis my freshman and sophomore year, so I did find a really good group of friends and it was just really fun to do, like playing a sport while fulfilling like my PE credit. So yeah, like I said, there clubs at your school might be very different for people, but at my school we have a bunch of variety and there is always a place for there's a place for everyone. Another question I got was, what are the best classes to take? I think having a rigorous but still like manageable course load is really important. And to be honest, yes, I was stressed my junior year, but I did actually enjoy a lot of my classes. AP Lang is definitely a class that prepares you for college, since I know in college you have to write a bunch of essays. And it might be a little biased because I myself really like AP Lang. I liked it, I enjoyed the class, but that's because I really like writing. But I really do recommend AP Lang. It's just a really useful class, and a lot of the information and like tech skills you learn in the class is really helpful for when you're gonna go to college, and it's just a really good lifelong skill to have. I don't say what best classes to take because I want to be a different major than like other people. So I think one thing I would recommend is know what you're best at. Another question I got is, was taking one or more APs a challenge? Growing up, I always made sure to take classes that were a lot more advanced for me. So I made sure to take honors in middle school and like pre-AP classes or whatnot that were offered at my middle school. So I feel like for me, the transition from like that to AP was pretty gradual. My freshman year, I took AP Hug. So it kind of like, it was only class offered for freshmen. And for me, it like allowed me to kind of understand how AP testing worked and how like courses like that worked. So when I would take more AP classes, I would kind of gradually know the pace. I'm very familiar with it. If you're someone that, you know, you're just jumping into a bunch of APs, I will say it will be different than your normal classes because you're on a different like course curriculum, if that makes sense. But I will say it's only hard if like you don't put the work in. I don't think anything can be like like impossible, because or else like why would the schools offer it, you know? I do feel like yes, it will be a challenge, but it is a really good challenge to take on, because these are classes that will like serve as college credit. And you know, for me, after I feel stressed, or I did find a bunch of these classes a challenge, but when I saw my grades from college board when I took the test, I found myself really proud of myself, and I said, oh, I don't have to worry about this anymore because I already took the class. Another question is, how do you keep your hair so flawless throughout the day? My hair right now isn't as flawless, but usually I really like to go in with like my brush as usual, and then I do straighten my hair. I just don't have it straightened right now, but I do straighten it, and throughout the day I kind of after I straighten my hair, I make sure to put like an oil, like it's like a hair oil, and it helps it like stick and like stay the same. But throughout the day, like when I feel like my hair is gonna get frizzy, I make sure to bring a small brush and sometimes a little bit of water and just like comb it through. It might be different for a lot of people. I don't know what hair type I have. It's kind of wavy, but I don't know. But yeah, that's how I keep my hair looking flawless. Thank you. Another question I have is, how do you balance school, club, and social life? So if you guys didn't know, I am current president of CSF, secretary for K Club, publicity for Friday Night Live, and event coordinator for Latinos Unidos. I will say your school, club, and social life change a lot throughout the 4 years of high school. I'm not sure how it's going to look like for me this upcoming senior year, but I will say that I balance it through like a calendar. Like I literally tell my friends like I'm free on this day and this day. What are we gonna do? You know? So I make sure to keep everything scheduled. Like I have things I have to do. I have everything planned, and it might be difficult for some people because I know not a lot of people are like huge planners. Just try and make sure where my time is going and what my responsibilities are. And for school, I have to keep track of all my assignments, tests, and all that. But I do think if you don't procrastinate, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to knock down all those tasks and kind of get a lot more free time, because like I said, I took 5 AP classes with 1 dual enrollment, so it was an extra college class, and I ended up, like I said, like being tucked in my bed in my room, having free time at 6 p.m. on some days, not every day, and I still had a lot of time to hang out with my friends and all that. So I feel like planning and kind of making sure to keep your tasks in check really helped. And for clubs, like I said, I made sure to keep all my tasks in check and kind of know, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, and so on. And then final question is, how do you study? Studying isn't kind of like a one-way answer for it, if that makes sense. I feel like you need different kinds of studying for the different kinds of classes. For AP Environmental Science, the test included MCQs and FRQs, and one thing that I found really helpful is memorization of content, because a lot of the MCQ questions are like, what is this? You know, you just answer. And I feel like just learning how to memorize and then actually practicing written FRQs and doing actual MCQs made things a lot more helpful, and just like making study guides of every unit. When I took calculus, AP Calc, it was my hardest class that I took. But for me, what helped me was doing practice tests the day before a test, or a few days before. My teacher would give us like handouts of a review, and most of the time that test, like that review, would be exactly the same as a test, but just with different numbers, if that makes sense. AP Psych, it was memorization, so I made sure I made a lot of flashcards for Psych, because it's just a bunch of terms that you need to know and know what they are. So I found that really easy. I used a bunch of Quizlet and just my own flashcards and notes that I would do. And for APUSH, there's also a lot of videos on APUSH like Heimler, but I have found not myself not really, this is really unpopular, but I found myself not really liking eyeliner. I don't know, it just wasn't. I tried to do it for AP World, it did not work out, so I decided to go my own route, and then I kind of studied like just terms or basic terms, laws, years, people, through flashcards as well. And we also did a bunch of games in my A-push class. It got really competitive. If you know, you know. But it got really competitive. But it did like push us to memorize a lot of terms, and it did end up like paying off. But yeah, this is finally it of this week's episode. It's kind of all over the place. I didn't have a lot of content to do because I was just writing most of the time, I'm afraid. And you know what, it's okay to run because these are I have one more week before I go back to school exactly, so I really want to make sure I make the most of it in the terms of relaxing. So yeah, hopefully next week's episode, I promise it will be a lot more entertaining. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this week's video. It's once again appreciated. I love putting myself out there and just letting my thoughts out into the world. Stay tuned for the episodes I will be having, and if you haven't watched episode 1 and 2 of my back to school diaries, make sure to check that out. I say those are definitely a lot more entertaining pieces of content. So yeah, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope I see you guys again.